A new wiper malware is so sneaky, it actually blames the good guys.
Hey, Andy, I hear you got a story about some new wiper malware. Can you tell us about it?
So this story is actually a little bit different than one we usually hear about. So Bleeping Computer actually had a story a couple days ago about some new ransomware that's been making its rounds on the internet. And this particular ransomware is actually it's an MB Locker ransomware. And for those who are unaware, MBR Locker ransomware targets the master boot record, which is the MBR. And master boot record is very important in your computer startup process. It's crucial in order to load your computer's operating system. If your MBR is corrupted, your computer can't load its OS, and then you can't access any of your files. So it's very important that you have an intact master boot record. But in any case, we've got some new master boot record ransomware called MB Locker moving around the internet. But what's unique about this one is it seems to be not necessarily targeting, but it seems to be blaming the malware on two pretty well-known security researchers. One of them is Vitaly Kremez, who actually works for Sentinel-1 Labs. And the other one is Twitter handle is Malware Hunter Team. So a victim would, open their computer, and if, they've got this ransomware installed on their machine, they would turn on their computer, and instead of loading up their operating system and seeing their login screen or their desktop, they get a little message from the attacker, and it actually says, something along the lines of, "Hi, I'm Vitaly Kremez," or, "I'm the one that infected your machine, and I'm the one that did this to you." And it's important to know that neither of those two folks have anything to do with this whatsoever. So whoever wrote this is really just playing a prank and trying to blame it on these security researchers. And what's also a little bit different is with typical ransomware, you get it on your machine, and let's say it's not the master boot record flavor. Let's say it's just the regular operating system flavor. What'll happen is the ransomware will get on your machine, and it'll actually go through and it'll encrypt all of your files so that you can't use them. And then it'll present a little message that asks you or demands that you pay a ransom. And usually that's in the form of Bitcoin. So it'll provide a wallet address for you. And then, the idea is that you would pay the ransomware and then you would get a decryption key that would go in and decrypt all your files, and then you have access again. Even though that sometimes doesn't work, I wouldn't suggest paying any of that stuff. But in this case, when you get that message, it actually doesn't provide any sort of wallet or anything. There's no payment option available to you. It just sort of gives you that message, and it tells you, "Hi, I'm one of these two security researchers, and your computer is, unusable at this point." There is one variant that actually does ask for something like I think it's like an access code or something. But if you read the message, it actually says something like, "Hi, I'm Vitaly Kremez from Sentinel-1. Buy our antivirus software and get the access code to unlock your computer," which is, of course, bogus. Sentinel-1 does not do that. Sentinel-1 is a very, very well-known, very legitimate security company. So if you read the article on Bleeping Computer, there's actually reference to a new tool that was, released via YouTube and Discord. And this tool is actually a very easy-to-use tool, and it's supposed to make creating master boot record ransomware or MBR Locker ransomware very easy to do. And so you can sort of speculate that, for that reason and the fact that we're seeing this ransomware that is not financially motivated, clearly, they're not trying to steal data, obviously. They just want to mess with people, and in fact, they want to mess with these two security researchers. You can kind of say, and Bleeping Computer does as much, that it's written by script kiddies. You download this tool, you type in the inputs, and you get your ransomware. How this is being dispersed actually is through different software websites, like cracked websites and like free software websites and whatnot. So you want to steer clear from that. But another interesting aspect of this is actually, since that tool that Bleeping Computer talks about has been released, there's been a kind of a rash of MBR Locker ransomware making its rounds. This is just sort of the newest flavor. And in fact, we've actually seen, well, I guess we haven't, but researchers have seen MBR Locker ransomware utilizing COVID-19 actually, and in the form of like file names and folder names and whatnot.
So as you're talking about this, Andy, actually, I can go back to my scammers using different techniques. I could easily correlate to 3 or 4 themes. Basically, one thing you said, the COVID-19 theme, that's how they're phishing it. And interesting is, I think they targeted 2 security researchers in the sense that they're really doing a good job. They got annoyed and they want to basically blame them. But if you come to the ransomware, the whole scenario of the ransomware to be anonymized and getting the money. If really a ransomware author, they're not going to give their details. My name is so-and-so, right? You don't want to be you want that to be anonymized. And one more thing, I think in this case, even though it's a prank, it's probably, as you said, it might be some script kiddies trying to play with the ransomware kit. Because the reason is nowadays there's so many malware kits are available. Again, we talked on the story. Like you can have DDoS for hire kit as well as ransomware as a service. It's just like, as you said, it's the graphical interface, and you just configure how much money you want, how many, what kind of files you want to encrypt. It's so much easier. It's just click, and select whatever you want. I believe coming to the ransomware, I believe we have to rely on the good backups to get back to whatever the good state your systems are. Other than else, any other ideas or tips you can share?
Yeah, for this particular attack, for this particular ransomware, steer clear of like cracked software websites. I think most people know that if you're looking for cracked software, you're probably going to have to go to a kind of a shady location on the internet to get it. And I only say that because if you're trying to get software that's legitimate, you'd go to a legitimate site. So, if you want to download software that's been cracked, you're going to have to go to a site that's willing to offer something that is illegal. So, my suggestion would be don't break the law and get software legitimately. And if you do find yourself, because it's not just cracked software, it's a site advertising free software. So it could be something like, download the software to clean your PC or something, which is, who doesn't want to do that, right? So, if you do find yourself looking to download an application like that, and you find yourself on a website that you've never been before, and it's showcasing all this free software, do your homework a little bit. I would just Google it. Google the name of the program, Google the website. There's a lot of discussion boards. There's a lot of blogs out there that'll tell you whether or not this is good or this is bad. You can even use some actual cybersecurity tools like virustotal.com. You can pop the URL in there, and VirusTotal will tell you if other people have seen this as well as a virus. So those are good tools to use to make sure you're not downloading something from a site that is actually going to ruin your machine, essentially. And I just want to make one comment on the ruin aspect of it. The researchers who have reversed this particular ransomware from this tool that we talked about, they've talked about how what it does actually is it copies the master boot record, the original one, into a different location, and then it just overwrites, the other one, which brings up the display message. So it's theoretically possible to just get everything back by rewriting that master boot record, but it's unclear whether or not this particular variant of it, the one that blames those security researchers, it's unclear whether or not it came from that tool. It just seems likely, considering we've seen a rash of MBR Locker ransomware, and that tool did just come out. But Kim, what are your thoughts on the story?
I think it's interesting. I agree with both you and Ganesh. Also, even though it was a prank, and what it does to branding, and as far as SentinelOne goes, how does that affect their branding, their name, and the people that they're targeting, the people that the pranksters were targeting, they're, tarnishing their good name, and they're like, oh, this is not, I didn't do this, or whatever. But yeah, and within that, when they have injected the master boot record, it's coming up with this, go and buy SentinelOne, it's this sort of thing like, pushing to, buy Sentinel, and it makes people think like, oh, it's SentinelOne, and someone is with SentinelOne behind this, and they want us to buy their product, that kind of thing. So I think it tarnishes their good name and branding as well, to others.
It never hurts to do a little bit of homework, right?
Right.
Yes, I agree. The internet is a big and scary place.
Really.
So make sure you know what you're doing on there.